Picture this. You are starving. Nothing around you is cooked. No boiling. No roasting. No, let me just heat this up real quick. Zero. If it is tough, you chew it tough. No cap. If it is bitter, you have to gamble. Is it food or is it poison? You do not know yet. And if it is covered in fur, shell, bark, dirt, or angry insects, that is officially your problem now. So what did early humans actually eat before fire entered the chat? Everyone assumes raw meat. That is part of it. But it is not the whole story, not even close. There was never just one diet. Here is the wild part. There was never one caveman diet, not even close. We are talking millions of years. Different human relatives, different landscapes, forests, grasslands, wetlands, brutal dry seasons. One group might be living their best life surrounded by ripe fruit. Another group is digging through rock-hard dirt just to survive. A third group, they got lucky. They found a carcass before the hyenas came back. Brutal, right? The menu shifted constantly. It moved with the land. It moved with the season. These early humans were not specialists. They were full-on generalists. Fruit today, insects tomorrow, meat, if you were lucky. That flexibility, that was the real superpower. Not muscles, not size. Adaptability. Straight up. Plants were the MVP. Let us talk plants first. Because honestly, plants were carrying the team. Long before fire, plants were doing the heavy lifting. Ripe fruit was the easy win. Soft, sweet, ready to go. But do not picture supermarket fruit. Forget that completely. Wild fruit was small, seedy, hidden in leaves, annoying to find. Nuts came locked inside rock-hard shells. Roots were tough, stringy, fibrous. Some plants were straight-up toxic. One wrong bite and game over. So knowledge mattered just as much as teeth. Which fruit is safe right now? Which root can you eat immediately? Which seed needs to get smashed first? Which plant messed you up yesterday? Never touch that again. No written guide existed. None. The elders were the guide. Living memory was the recipe book. Underground food was clutch. Roots. Bulbs. Tubers. They do not run away. They do not disappear when fruit does. That is huge. But raw. They were brutal to eat. Stringy. Hard. Loaded with starch your body could not fully use yet. So humans got creative. They peeled it. They sliced it. They pounded it. They crushed it. Before the cooking pot, there was the hammerstone. That rock was the original kitchen gadget. It turned an inedible root into an actual meal. Meat was a wool package deal. Now let us get into meat. Because people picture it wrong. Way wrong. By the early Stone Age, humans had tools. Sharp stone flakes for cutting, hammerstones for smashing bones open. This was not a clean steak on a plate. Nothing like that. A carcass was basically a full grocery store. Muscle, fat, liver, heart, brain, tongue, connective tissue, and the real jackpot, marrow. Hidden deep inside the bones, marrow was elite. Crack the right bone open, and you hit soft, calorie-dense food. Way easier to eat than raw hide. Way easier than chewy tendon. And it was protected, locked inside bone. So even after lions and hyenas stripped the meat, the marrow was often still there, untouched. Were they hunters? Were they scavengers? Honestly, both. It depended on the group. It depended on the era. Sometimes they killed something small themselves. Sometimes they got to a big carcass early. Sometimes they showed up late and took the leftovers. Either way, stone tools changed everything. A flake could cut skin. It could separate joints. It could remove flesh that teeth alone could never handle. Tools basically became an extra set of teeth, carried in the hand. Game changer. Eating raw meat was low-key dangerous. But here is the catch. Raw meat was risky, genuinely risky. It spoiled fast, especially in warm climates. It could carry parasites. It could carry bacteria. Find a carcass at the wrong time. You might get calories and a serious illness in the exact same bite. There is this myth floating around. Ancient humans had indestructible stomachs. That is nonsense, honestly. Food poisoning did not wait around for civilization to show up. People got sick. Some people died. That is just the truth. Evolution does not erase danger. It just means enough people survived it, enough to keep the group going. So judgment became survival. Eat from a fresh kill if you can. Smell it first. Watch what other animals avoid eating. Remember which water source made everyone sick last time. Bad decisions got punished immediately. No second chances. That pressure shaped everything about how they approached food. The small stuff. Insects, eggs, and honey. Meat was not a daily guarantee, not even close. So small foods carried serious weight. Eggs were a solid raw option. Quick, safe, easy. Insects were next level underrated. Termites, grubs, ants, larvae. People think of bugs as emergency food? Wrong. In a lot of environments, insects were a daily staple. Reliable, packed with fat, packed with protein, and way easier to catch than a wildebeest. Although, fair warning, easy is relative. Sometimes the meal bites back, literally. Then there is honey, pure, dense, ready-to-go energy, zero cooking required. The hard part was not eating it. The hard part was getting it, without the bees absolutely destroying you in the process. Near coasts, rivers, and wetlands, the menu expanded even more. Shellfish, fish, frogs, small reptiles, all lower risk than chasing down a giant animal. A wet season meant fruit, eggs, and insects galore. A dry season meant roots, marrow, and whatever meat you could scavenge. This menu was not designed for health. It was designed for survival. Pure opportunity, nothing more. Eating took forever. Here is something people never think about. Eating raw food took forever. Genuinely forever. We can scarf down a cooked meal in minutes. Heat already did the work for us. Already broke down the fibers. Already softened the starch. Raw food does not cooperate like that. Fibrous plants demand endless chewing. Tough meat has to be torn into smaller pieces. Otherwise, it just sits there, like literal leather in your mouth. Hard seeds and nuts? You have to crack them open first. No shortcuts. A massive chunk of the day went into this cycle. Finding food, opening it, pounding it, cutting it, chewing it, digesting it, over and over. Our primate cousins still spend way more of their day chewing than we do. Humans are actually the weird ones here. Eating barely takes up any of our day now. Cooking created that gap. But stone tools, they started the shift first, long before fire ever showed up. And this created a wild evolutionary puzzle. Early humans needed more energy, bigger bodies, eventually, bigger brains, but their jaws were getting weaker. Their teeth were getting smaller. More energy required. Less chewing power available. That math does not work, unless behavior stepped in to replace anatomy. Instead of evolving giant jaws, they grabbed rocks. Instead of relying on one food source, they learned to handle dozens. Total adaptability mode. When did fire actually show up? Okay, the big question. When did fire actually enter the picture? It is way more complicated than people think. Archaeologists have found ancient traces of fire, but a single burned bone proves nothing on its own. Natural fires happen all the time. Lightning strikes. Wildfires spread. Camps get abandoned. Evidence disappears completely. There is a massive difference between finding flames once and keeping flames alive and controlling them on purpose and making fire whenever you want and cooking food every single day. Current evidence points to roughly 400,000 years ago. That is when humans were deliberately making fire on demand. Some older sites hint at contact with fire even earlier than that. But routine cooking? Still heavily debated. And honestly, it almost certainly was not one dramatic night. Nobody invented the barbecue, and the whole species changed overnight. Fire spread like knowledge spreads. Unevenly, messy. Some groups used it constantly. Other groups lost access completely, had to start over from scratch. Some groups carried burning embers around, long before they could even create a new flame on their own. Everything changed once cooking became normal. Once fire became reliable, everything changed. And I mean everything. Heat softened meat instantly. It broke down tough connective tissue. It made starchy food way easier to digest. It killed off dangerous pathogens. It neutralized plant toxins. Suddenly kids could eat foods they could not before. Older people could eat foods they could not before. Anyone with damaged teeth got a second chance at nutrition. But here is the real game changer. Cooking unlocked way more usable energy from food, and it slashed the time needed to actually eat it. That combo? Absolutely massive. A raw diet kept a primate alive. Barely. A cooked diet changed what that primate had the time and energy to actually become. Cooking did not single-handedly create intelligence. Evolution is never that simple, but it rewrote the entire daily schedule. Less chewing, more accessible calories, more foods made safe to eat, more time spent together around a shared fire, sharing food. And that mattered. Cooperation, tool use, memory, flexible foraging. All of that already existed before fire showed up. Fire did not invent those skills. It amplified them. Big time. So what did humans actually eat before they could cook? Ripe fruit? Tough leaves? Cracked nuts? Pounded roots? Insects, whenever they could find them? Eggs, whenever they got lucky? Honey, if they could survive the bees? Fish and small animals near the water? Raw meat, sliced open with stone flakes? Bones, smashed apart for the marrow inside? There was no secret perfect ancestral diet. None. There was never one single menu followed for millions of years. There were just smart, social, endlessly adaptable foragers, solving the same brutal question every single day: what can we safely turn into energy before something else gets to it first? Fire eventually gave them a better answer, but they survived long enough to find that answer, without a single flame, because they already knew how to transform the world around them, with knowledge, with cooperation, and with one sharp piece of stone.